It's been a tough road for all of us. We hope your road leads you here to Brownsville. Our city's beauty awaits. Explore our great outdoors, embrace our rich history and culture, enjoy our first-class restaurants and shops. We are ready to welcome you. Open skies, open businesses, open hearts. We love this city, and you will too. Begin your planning at visitbtx.com.
Welcome to BTX Strong, Brownsville's State of the City Address. And now, Mayor Trey Mendez.
Hello and welcome to BTX Strong, our State of the City. I'm your Mayor Trey Mendez. In October of 2019, I delivered my first State of the City and announced many initiatives that I believed would alter the trajectory that Brownsville was on. At the time, none of us expected the challenges that 2020 would bring and how our lives would change forever. 2020 certainly challenged our resolve as a community and personally, with many of us suffering the greatest loss of a family member or friend to the COVID-19 pandemic. I'd like to take a moment of silence to remember those that we lost. Reflecting on 2020, the city of Brownsville is strong. Despite major challenges, we continue to thrive amid the pandemic, and I'm extremely proud of the many accomplishments that we've had so far. We kicked off the year with our first annual Crossroads Festival. The idea of Crossroads was to develop a festival never before seen in the RGV. It gave us an opportunity to showcase the local talent who reside in Brownsville, who grew up in Brownsville, and who are excelling across the globe. It was also an opportunity just to celebrate the things that make our city special. We successfully executed 5 festivals in a span of 3 days. 72 hours of film, food, art, politics, and music that featured incredible musical performances throughout the night. Crossroads highlighted the very best of the entire region, including 2 U.S. film premieres, Brownsville chefs, local artists, and guest speakers. It is unfortunate we could not host a festival this year, but I'm optimistic that 2022 will be special, given everything we've had to celebrate. The next Crossroads Festival will be grand. Shortly after Crossroads, the city of Brownsville shifted into response mode on the global COVID-19 pandemic. Given the culture of our organization, we were able to pivot quickly to flatten the curve and be there for our residents and our small businesses when they needed it most. City business went virtual. The City Commission has not met in person for over a year, yet the city's business continues to function without delay or interruptions. I'd like to thank all city staff for meeting this challenge and continuing to provide services to our residents while taking care of their own families during this unprecedented time. I'd like to introduce our city manager, NOEL BERNAL, who will give us more details. Noel?
Thank you, Mayor Mendez. That is right. BTX is strong. I am Noel Bernal, city manager for the city of Brownsville. A year since we pivoted to an emergency COVID-19 pandemic response, we are reflecting back on a year that challenged all of us in many ways. It was indeed challenging, but like you mentioned, city business did not stop. Our #1 priority was to keep our community safe and healthy. We accomplished this through rapid innovations, active communications, and stakeholder partnerships. Our dedicated public servants shifted to a virtual posture and worked remotely. City Commission meetings went virtual. We operated the municipal court as a drive-through format, and meetings with judges were held through Zoom. We operated services such as the city secretary and planning and redevelopment completely online. The public library provided a curbside pickup service as its employees sewed face masks and printed 3D face shields for their colleagues. This was the perfect time to implement our strategic automation plan, a program which includes streamlining community services using software and online platforms, many of which have enhanced citizen value. The city also launched BTX Engage, a platform that helps residents find information on city services, submit city requests, and more on the web and through text message. Our city's daily operations continue to function without delay and interruption. Thank you, Mayor, for this opportunity to address our community. It's truly an honor to help lead our community during this unpredictable and challenging time. We are truly proud of what we have been able to overcome together so far, and we continue to be ready to roll up our sleeves and get the work done. Together, we are BTX Strong. Now back to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Noel. The city of Brownsville has taken a proactive and aggressive stance in our fight against COVID-19. We knew that providing robust and accessible testing to the community would give us the best chance to contain the virus. Within just 4 days of the City of Brownsville State of Emergency declaration, we established a city-led drive-through testing facility at the Brownsville Sports Park, testing over 17,000 people throughout the various sites. We were the first city in the Rio Grande Valley to do this. The City of Brownsville also continued to work to find ways to improve testing and lab capacity. The city granted the UT School of Public Health $450,000 of CARES funding to develop a lab in Brownsville. The lab is equipped with the top-of-the-line equipment that will end our dependency on labs in Central Texas for our testing and therefore improve our response times. Open and transparent communication was more important than ever. We worked closely with the city's communications and marketing team to spread awareness about important health and safety measures throughout the media, advertising, social media, and BTX Cares, which the city created primarily to be an online COVID-19 resource for the community. To quickly communicate the severity of the pandemic, the city also established a color-coded threat matrix to provide a visual status of how COVID-19 is affecting the city. We also started a COVID-19 hotline to answer questions about the pandemic and help residents register for testing. As we enter a second year of fighting COVID-19, we're proud to provide our community with vaccines through city-led clinics with an efficient online appointment scheduling process. I'm proud to announce that so far, nearly 14,000 individuals have received the vaccine through BTX Cares. With this vaccine, we can begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we're not out of the woods yet. I ask our community to please continue to wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart, and wash your hands thoroughly. Stay in the fight, Brownsville. In July, the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation launched its first ever Startup Texas initiative. This initiative supports companies and entrepreneurs with startup capital in the form of a $10,000 grant if they locate in Brownsville. I would now like to invite the chair of the BCIC, Mike Limas, to tell us some of the success stories that the initial selections have had and how they have impacted Brownsville.
Thanks, Trey. On behalf of the board of directors and the staff of BCIC, we're really excited to be a part of the State of the City. My name is Michael Limas. I'm chairman of the board of Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation. BCIC does a multitude of things. We do everything from traditional economic development to funding quality of life projects here in the city of Brownsville. And most recently, through our Startup Texas program, we've been helping individuals scale their business here in Brownsville, Texas. Our quality of life assets include the MITTE Cultural District, our hike and bike infrastructure, and facilities such as the Brownsville Sports Park. We are proud to venture into our role as ecosystem builders to foster business development, increase the quality of life of our residents, and facilitate innovative workplace development programs for the jobs of today and tomorrow. Startup Texas has evolved tremendously from its inception. Almost overnight, it turned into a COVID-19 relief program where we were very lucky to assist over 1,500 at-risk employees. We helped provide over $400,000 in local dollars being funded to institutions in need. And most recently, in conjunction with our partners at the SBA, we helped solidify over $9 million in funding from the federal government. Startup Texas has funded businesses such as Genziano Designs, a Latina-owned and operated brand that focuses on empowering Latina hermanas through community and cultura. Lunar Station Corporation provides cutting-edge lunar environmental intelligence for organizations planning and executing missions on the moon. Permittivity. Permittivity combines a licensed NASA technology with a team of seasoned experts to provide a novel and disruptive leak detection system for industrial containment solutions. Amori Pan, bakery specializing in keto, paleo, vegan, gluten, sugar, and grain-free baked goods carefully crafted with high fiber and a near zero glycemic index. PLUTON Brewing Company, microbrewery using locally and ethically sourced ingredients to create a drinking experience unique to the Rio Grande Valley. Overall, 10 businesses specializing in automation, technology, manufacturing, and energy have been invested in through Startup Texas. Developments like our EBRIDGE Center for Business and Commercialization, the largest entrepreneurial incubator south of San Antonio, is set to break ground this summer, where we will continue to advance an open and an inclusive ecosystem for all entrepreneurs. Working with community leaders, the City of Brownsville, organizations like GBIC and UTRGV will allow us to work in unison and provide a better Brownsville. And through this collaboration, I strongly believe will make BTX strong. BCIC is proud to be BTX strong. Back to you, Trey.
Thank you, Mike, for your great leadership on BCIC and your continued service to our community. One of my top priorities when I got elected was to change the way the city of Brownsville does business. The single issue holding back our city was a development and permitting structure written in the 1970s and amended many times since its adoption, creating a code that was difficult to understand and difficult for investors to do business in Brownsville. We allocated the necessary resources to rewrite and streamline the code, and I'm happy to report that the City Commission, after more than a year's worth of work, adopted a new development code in December. This will not only make things easier from a development perspective, but it will change the way that Brownsville develops. Prioritizing infill development and getting more use out of the existing infrastructure will also help reduce service costs and increase property tax revenue, increasing our level of service to our citizens. In 2020, the City of Brownsville managed to lower your property taxes. That's right, we lowered your taxes in 2020. That's great news and a testament to our great leadership in our organization. One of the pillars of my campaign was to increase transparency. For the first time in over 20 years, the City of Brownsville has a functioning audit and oversight committee with an independent city auditor at the helm. This will dramatically improve our ability to increase transparency and accountability in the City of Brownsville and those organizations that receive funding from the city as well. We ended the year with a terrific celebration with the opening of our new airport terminal. I'd like to thank the entire Brownsville Airport staff and contractors who maintained a safe working environment that allowed the terminal to be completed on time. I know that travel is difficult right now, but if you haven't gone by the terminal, here's Bryant Walker, our airport director, with a sneak peek of what to expect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So I'm Bryant Walker. I'm at the brand new Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport, and it is something. So welcome, come on in, let's take a look at things. This is the entrance to the airport here. So when you come into ticketing, the Kind Airlines here will help get you checked in, get your baggage checked, and get you on your way. Now let's look at some of the amenities that we've added in the terminal for the convenience of the passengers, the citizens, and any other users at the airport. After checking in at ticketing with the airlines, you'll find that we have ample seating as well as charging stations for phones and other devices for meters and greeters, as well as any passengers that are waiting for possibly the checkpoint to open. In this area, we also have artwork installations, and we have electrochromic glass, which tints with the sun to make the environment very comfortable for everybody that uses the airport. So on the second level, we have an expanded checkpoint, queuing area, and again, the same comfortable atmosphere. There's plenty of places for the passengers to recompose after they've gone through screening, and of course, Wi-Fi and information, digital displays everywhere as well. Once you've come through the checkpoint, you can expect to find ample seating in the gate area, charging tables with wireless charging, Wi-Fi throughout the terminal, plugs at every other row, and at a few of these charging stations throughout the gate area. We're busy right now smoothing out and paving the ramp and parking area for aircraft so that we can attach to the jet bridges, which should be done within the next month and a half or 2 months. So this is the gate area. Along with the seating and the waiting area for the gate, we also have plenty of restrooms. We have nursing mothers rooms and service animal relief rooms as well. In the next month or two, we'll also be adding concessions, which were difficult to add during the opening due to COVID. So we expect to see that within the next couple months as well. So we hope you enjoyed this really quick high-level tour of the airport, what to expect when you come out and experience it for yourself. So remember to fly Brownsville, and from the Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport, I'm Bryant Walker. Back to you, Trey.
Thank you, Bryant. 2021 will be an exciting year for Brownsville and a year that we will begin to see the fruits of our labor. SpaceX has ramped up operations and the impact is very visible. So visible that we now have the attention of the world focused on Boca Chica. On Tuesday, March the 30th, SpaceX launched its 4th high-altitude test of Starship from Brownsville. We understand that SpaceX continues to have expansion plans at the launch site, and we look forward to working with them. We're actively building a new space ecosystem in Brownsville to attract more space-related companies. New space is projected to be a $1 trillion industry by 2030, and Brownsville will position itself as a city that welcomes this industry and fosters innovation. Space Ventures is an early win in this effort, and they continue to expand their footprint in Brownsville. Space Ventures is a technology platform where new space companies can raise up to $5 million for their startup operations. They have hundreds of companies interested in the platform, and we anticipate being able to bring some of those to Brownsville. If they start here, That means they grow here, and they're more likely to stay here for the long term, bringing further capital, development, and workforce to our city. We look forward to our partnership with Space Ventures. Continuing the space front, I'm excited to announce that the City of Brownsville has entered into an economic development agreement with the Space Channel. Space Channel is the world's only media channel dedicated to space news and entertainment. Let's take a look at what they'll be launching out of Brownsville.
We Earthlings have always been an adventuring people. We've always looked to a frontier to give us new opportunity, free rein to our sense of enterprise. The colonization of space offers us a new, limitless frontier. It's bountiful, it's friendly, and it's waiting for us.
One of the most exciting projects in the solar system.
An event that could change the world as we know it.
This is above average stuff.
Coffee's been acquired. Time to go.
With so much happening in space, in the US and around the world, we're building a state-of-the-art global newsroom to cover it all.
Uniquely original content that keeps us connected to space and each other.
Space Channel has agreed to build its broadcasting studios in Brownsville, hire Brownsville talent, and broadcast Brownsville to the world. We're excited about the decision to make Brownsville their home base. On March 30th, there was a tweet that caught worldwide attention. Elon Musk tweeted that he was donating $20 million to Cameron County schools and $10 million to the city of Brownsville for downtown revitalization. More and more companies have shown interest in our city, and we believe that the interest will continue to rise as more companies see the value of Brownsville. The renaissance of downtown Brownsville continues with private investment making major investments in retail and living. 10 years ago, way before I was mayor, I was at the early meetings of downtown revitalization, and I was a believer in the potential of a renaissance. I felt that for downtown to thrive, it would need to find a way to include downtown living. Thanks to the work of ORIGOWORKS and Varco Development, downtown Brownsville has its first market rate housing in over 30 years. ORIGOWORKS continues to invest, and some exciting announcements should be coming soon. It reminds me that 10 years ago, when I first invested in downtown Brownsville, banks struggled to understand the vision. In 2021, banks are not only comfortable lending to projects downtown, but actively seek to fund even more. Who would have thought or envisioned that? Affordable housing is also critical to any downtown, and I'm excited to announce the CDCB, Come Dream, Come Build, Samano project. This project recently won $50,000 from the U.S. Conference of Mayors and Wells Fargo for its innovating housing concept. The project will also bring a grocery store to downtown Brownsville, filling an important void for any downtown resident. Following the Samano building is the El Jardín. The Brownsville Housing Authority has submitted this project for tax credits, and if successful, would mean that the two largest buildings in downtown Brownsville would now have living and over 100 units of affordable housing. EBRIDGE is now under construction and is anticipated to be completed by the first quarter of 2022. As you can see, many exciting initiatives are underway in downtown Brownsville. I'd now like to introduce my friend, RJ MITTE. RJ is the chairman of the MITTE Foundation and also our resident celebrity. RJ is so committed to Brownsville that he decided to move his whole family to Brownsville in 2019. RJ, please tell us about the MITTE Foundation's plans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Always a pleasure to be a part of this and be a part of BTX. My name is RJ MITTE. I am an actor, advocate, and worked on many shows and movies for quite a few years now. Mostly known for a show called Breaking Bad. But I also lately have been the president of the Roy Frank and Joanne MITTE Foundation, which is my grandfather and grandmother's family foundation. We have allocated around $5 million to our Brownsville development project, which initially we're calling it that area Buena Vista Park. It's hard to go into something blind. It's hard to start allocating funds to something that you're like, is this going to have an impact? And you're like, I don't know, but it feels right and it feels like it needs to be there. Look, it's like a resaca. The water looks refreshing, but do you really want to jump in or do you not? And I'm one of those people that like, I jump in. I'm one of those big believers that being a first person is key. You know, leadership is so important, and not for the leader. Leadership is important to those who see leadership. My grandparents believed in Brownsville. My grandfather was from here. My grandfather grew up in a very poor part of town, and he made something of himself. He worked his whole life to create the life he ended up living. He believed in Brownsville, and I was like, this is why I want to be here, because I believe in it too. And I'm very happy to see Trey making the impact that he's made in the community and really bridging a gap from generations to the future of what's happening in a very pivotal time for Brownsville. We're very lucky to have the city that we have with the community that's behind it. Again, I'm RJ MITTE, and on behalf of the Roy Frank and Joanne MITTE Foundation, we are BTX Strong. Back to you, Trey.
I want to personally thank RJ, his family, and the MITTE Foundation for their investment. Philanthropy is a critical component for communities, and we must continue to foster those relationships. The Gladys Porter Zoo Master Plan, although impacted by COVID-19, will be completed by July of this year, and we will work diligently to fund improvements to the zoo so that it remains our crown jewel. But just because the master plan was not completed in 2020 doesn't mean that we were not working on other initiatives. Today, I'm excited to announce a partnership between the City of Brownsville, Gladys Porter Zoo, and Texas A&M. Formalizing this agreement, the City of Brownsville will be hiring a vet position that will share its time between our Animal Care Center and the Gladys Porter Zoo. With that, Texas A&M will begin to send vet students down to Brownsville for their clinical rotations. This is a small but very important step in improving veterinary services in the entire Rio Grande Valley. We hope that this relationship will lead to much greater initiatives for Brownsville. Drainage and streets are two popular topics for our citizens, and I can tell you we are working diligently on these two issues. When I first took office, I was told that the IMPALA pump station, which houses the largest pumps in Brownsville and is responsible for draining most of the city, was at the end of its useful life. It was originally installed in 1968, so we got working on a solution. On February the 25th of this year, the Texas Water Development Board approved $13.1 million to fund the IMPALA pump station and improvements. Recycling has now been expanded to provide a drop-off station in each district. This is a great addition to our city. Keep a lookout for these stations coming to you very soon. The Joint Tactical Training Facility will be a noticeable addition to Brownsville. This facility will be the first state-of-the-art law enforcement training facility in the RGV. It's intended to be for the use of DPS, the Brownsville Police Department, Texas Military Forces, county and municipal law enforcement agencies, and those of the federal government for training. This project is slated to break ground in the fourth quarter of this year. Another grand announcement, DHR Health has purchased the old Doctors Hospital located off the highway. This is a 73,000 square foot building that sits on 5 acres. DHR Health plans to provide approximately 50 staff beds with over $20 million in improvements and 300 more employees to the City of Brownsville. In case you haven't seen it yet, just a couple months ago, Tesla opened its first service and delivery center here in Brownsville. The showroom features 14,000 square feet and is a first of its kind here in the Rio Grande Valley. As our lives have shifted to doing things virtually, so has our dependence on an internet connection. Closing the digital divide is our greatest challenge, and since last year, we've been finalizing a plan that charts our path forward. This solution will not only address the actual connection, but the quality and affordability of the connection. If we want to be the city of the future, we must invest in the infrastructure of the future, and we're prepared to do something about it. The eyes of Texas and the US are on Brownsville with this initiative. We cannot afford to settle for less. As your mayor, I'm here to tell you that we will not. 2021 will bring some exciting announcements on broadband. Please stay tuned. In closing, the state of Brownsville is stronger than ever, and we look towards a future firmly in control of our own destiny. We must continue to prioritize investments in these efforts that will set us apart from every other city and invest in what makes us unique. We're building the destination city we all want, one that draws outside investment and future residents to our city. I'm excited for the next couple years and what the future has in store for Brownsville, but I can't do it alone. We're a team, we are resilient, and we are BTX strong. Thank you.
BTX strong. BTX strong. BTX strong.
Been a tough road for all of us. We hope your road leads you here to Brownsville. Our city's beauty awaits. Explore our great outdoors, embrace our rich history and culture, enjoy our first-class restaurants and shops. We are ready to welcome you. Open skies, open businesses, open hearts. We love this city, and you will too. Begin your planning at visitbtx.com.